Most Singaporeans buy their vegetables from supermarkets. I teach them how to grow their own. I'm an outlier.
Beyond Low looks like the average city-dwelling Singaporean, except that he's a farmer, an urban farmer. The 33-year-old quit his cushy corporate job to start a social enterprise called Edible Gardens in 2012 and has since taught many Singaporeans how to grow their own vegetables in the city.
I just felt it was kind of meaningless to continue in that job, and I wanted to really have a real skill, and growing food I thought was and being a farmer was a very honest way of living.
But it's not easy to farm in land-scarce Singapore. Only 1.47% of our land is arable, and in 2010, we imported over 90% of our food.
To grow vegetables is very easy. All you need is a styrofoam box with some soil in it and some seeds, and it can cost nothing because you can get all these materials by going to picking up rubbish, styrofoam box from the market and getting soil from the nurseries. It actually costs quite little.
It sounds easy, but urbanized Singapore is not an ideal place for farming. Many HDB flats do not offer enough space or sunlight for vegetables to grow well.
For sort of flats and for HDBs and for apartments who maybe don't have a lot of light, they might want to look at doing microgreens, things that do not grow to full size. And because due to low light levels in many apartments, you can only grow vegetables to a certain size and then you harvest them. They are more nutritious and they taste better.
And this is what Chef Bjorn Shen at the Artichoke Cafe is trying out. A friend of our urban farmer, the 31-year-old shares not only the same name as his friend, but also his passion for growing local produce. He's testing out indoor sprout growing from seeds of radish.
I think unanimously one of the things that we want to do with this is try and set a bit of an example for everyone else, and just to say that it actually is possible. Growing your own and going green in Singapore actually can be done.
The cafe serves up Middle Eastern fares, garnished with herbs from their own edible garden, put together by Beyond Low.
We get our herbs very fresh. We pluck it when we need it. Just the same way, that you would keep your meat in the fridge, keep your fish in the fridge, we keep our herbs in the soil. And we take only what we need. We are completely self-sufficient when it comes to things like mint and basil. We have other interesting little leaves like borage, shisho, and more unique kinds of herbs that you don't always find in supermarkets like Mexican coriander, and stevia, and purslane. We tested out what worked, what didn't work. It was a slow and also quite tedious process at times, but I think nothing that's good is ever that easy.
This is version 3.0 of the garden. The two Beyonds had to throw out many plans that did not work. It was also expensive because the garden needed to be landscaped to suit the aesthetics of the cafe.
I think all up I might have spent, $5,000 or more dollars. So despite the cost, despite the effort that we put in, despite the fact that this is organic and we lose half our crop once in a while to, a big flock of pests, despite all of that, I think that for me, just for me, this is worth doing.
Even for home growers who may not need their vegetable gardens landscaped, the cost comes in other forms.
It is cheaper to actually buy your own vegetables from the supermarket because of the way that the vegetables are farmed commercially, the effort and the time required. That is where the cost is, you see. If I'm a higher power executive and I charge $120 an hour as my charge out rate, then if I spend 1 hour on my vegetables, then the vegetable will cost $120.
Singapore is hugely dependent on food imports. Our expenses on food, beverage and tobacco have been increasing in the last 3 years, from $11 billion in 2009 to $14 billion in 2012, according to the Department of Statistics. Our dependency on food imports means that the transportation cost of food from other countries to Singapore has also contributed to a huge carbon footprint, which is the biggest per capita in the Asia-Pacific region in 2010, even bigger than that of China, according to a report by the World Wildlife Fund.
I'll give you an example of working with restaurants. They like to buy microgreens or certain vegetables artisan vegetables from Holland, for example, and they import that into Singapore, well, we can grow that locally. So if we can grow that locally in their garden, they don't have to import it anymore.
Bjorn Low concedes that urban farming is still very new in Singapore and needs time to take root, but he believes that there is a healthy interest among Singaporeans to farm their own vegetables.
It's definitely worth it. Maybe not from the monetary sense, but from a connection to nature, from educating your kids about where your food comes from. It's definitely worth it.